It's unavoidable in every single aspect of everyday life. Every man, whether they are young, whether they're old, every woman, whether they are young or old, is exposed and deals with social media every single day of their lives. Everyone has access to it with the single click of a button. And social media is a new invention, it is a new instrument which is now in the lives of every single human being. The days in which you could interact with a person face to face, or the days in which you would communicate with someone via a letter which would take days to reach them, these days are over. Now all you need to do is pick up your phone, tap a button, and you can speak to any single person in the entire world. As I mentioned today, most of our everyday lives are controlled and dominated by social media. All you need to do to prove this is to go onto your phone, to go into your settings and to check how much you use your phone and social media every day. And when you do this, you will be shocked because you will see that you spend hours and hours and hours on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on YouTube. So when it comes to the Islamic perspective on social media, what is the ruling on it? Is it something which we can say and take a blanket approach and say, no, it's haram entirely? Or do we say that this is something entirely halal? The answer, of course, is neither of these options. There's a middle ground which we need to take when it comes to social media. There is both haram and there is halal when it comes to it as well. And this depends on how we use social media. This depends on the ways in which we engage with it. Today I want to talk mainly about the negative aspects of social media and the harms and the haram which it can bring about. And tomorrow, inshallah, I will talk about the benefits of social media and the ways in which we can use it to propagate and to spread Islam, especially in the West. Not only do I want to talk on the Islamic standpoint today, but also on the psychological and the social elements of social media and how it can act detrimentally to Muslims, not only the youth, but people of all ages. There are two ways in which we can use social media. In Islam, we have two crucial and key components which regulate our everyday lives and determine our submission and willingness to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. And there is such a high importance on fulfilling this obligation. However, this can also be tied into the discussion which we are having today and how we use social media, enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. And inshallah, we can find out the most Islamic way to use social media and all of its platforms whilst not falling into the traps of the shaitan. Firstly, when we talk about social media and the harms that can be associated with it, I want to just briefly touch on the topic of hijab. When we focus on the negatives, one thing that we can't avoid talking about is the concept of proper and improper hijab. When we talk about hijab and the lack of it which we find online, it's a topic which doesn't require from me a lot of discussion or depth. The Islamic rules that we have regarding hijab are there, they are in our books, they are present on the websites and the books of our ulama and scholars. And the majority of Muslims are raised with the correct understanding and knowledge of hijab. However, a lot of this knowledge and a lot of the laws and the rules around hijab have been thrown away by men and women when it comes to social media. You have women who will go online and post pictures of themselves wearing a tight dress, and likewise you have men who go and take pictures and post them online with sometimes no tops on whilst they're in the gym, for example. These men and these women are openly flaunting their body for not just their followers to see, but for the entire world to see. And this will tie into what I'm going to talk on later. However, when you post something on social media, it's not just to your followers, it's to the entire world. Some people have the confidence on social media to post these haram pictures without thinking about who can see them. They feel confident to post it online on social media. However, if they were to gather 1,000 people who they knew but didn't have on this app, and they dressed this way in front of them in person, would they feel comfortable doing this? If, for example, they took this topless picture whilst they're in the gym, and they showed their mother or father this. Will they find it acceptable? Will they even post this picture to begin with? No. So the concept of hijab when it comes to social media is something we need to address, and we need to encourage people to focus on the proper and correct hijab. When you don't follow this proper hijab, of course, you are risking a non-mahram person seeing your pictures and perhaps feeling haram or impermissible desires. And this is haram on whose end? On your end, the person who posted that picture, because you're the one who is inciting this feeling by posting something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbade you to do. Again, when we talk about people showing off their body and not following the proper hijab, we can link this to the issue of pride and boastfulness, both of which are among the greater sins in Islam, not just normal sins. And using these qualities, using improper hijab and flaunting of the body in these ways to impress other people and to attract attention towards yourself, falls into this category of committing one of the greater sins. So your purpose when you are posting, for example, a picture of yourself online should not be to gain attraction from other people. The only person worthy of impressing and showing off yourself and your deeds to should be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can get strong, you can get ripped, you can get built in the gym, that's okay, there's no problem in doing that, but why are you doing it in the first place? Are you doing it to show off to your Instagram followers or to non-mahrams? Or are you doing it to gain a healthy physique, to follow the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to be strong, to be a masculine man? This is something we need to think about. Another dangerous part of social media, which is even more unavoidable, is the concept of music and how prevalent music is on social media. Without getting too much into it, there's a narration from Imam Mahdi himself where he speaks about music. And what the Imam says is that he said, "You shall see that music shall become so prevalent that no one will dissuade other people from listening to it, nor will people find the need to stop people listening to music. You shall see that music will become so prevalent that it will even be played in the two holy sanctuaries of Mecca and Medina." Imam Al-Rida says that listening to music, again, is one of the greater sins. Not a small sin, but one of the greater sins. Amir al-Mu'mineen says that the house where musical instruments are kept, not even where they are played, but where they are kept, the angels do not enter into this house. And the worship of the people who reside in this house, where musical instruments are kept, is not accepted. So we need to be careful about which apps on social media we use. For example, TikTok. All of the young people in this room have it, I guarantee it. And one of the first things which happens when they open up TikTok, music starts playing at them. I challenge one person in this room who has TikTok to open it, to go 3 videos. If there is not music in it, I'll give you £10. But it's so prevalent. And it just escapes our mind. We don't think too much of it. We sit there watching a video and music's being played throughout years. We're listening to this in our house, day and night. Amir al-Mu'mineen says the angels don't enter that house. The worship of the people in that house is not accepted. We need to be wary of which apps we have on our phone and to limit the frequency of how often we listen to music. As I will go into detail tomorrow, and what we'll focus on tomorrow is the positives and the benefits of social media. Briefly, what I want to talk about in relation to the positives which we can find is akhlaq and the etiquette and the manners in which we speak to people with. Now, how does this tie to social media? Well, if we look at the negative side of this and the manner in which people speak and communicate to others, we can see that, for example, when we have differences of opinion between people, especially between believers, there's a lack of true and genuine akhlaq. Online, you are hidden behind the screen. No one can see your face in front of them. We're not face to face with someone to see their reactions, to see their emotions, or to see the feelings which they have. Therefore, when we get drawn into a debate or a disagreement between people, especially between believers, many people forget about the required and wajib akhlaq in which they have to maintain when they are speaking to other people. If, for example, I'm in the Husseiniya and someone comes up to me and they said, you spoke about this individual when you were giving your muhadara, when you gave your lecture, and I don't think this is right because he is a questionable figure, he's not a good man. Okay, then this is a good way of coming to someone face to face, and if there's a difference of opinion or disagreement, you can speak politely and with good manners and good akhlaq. However, what you see on social media is that instead of coming forward with this polite way of speaking, people instantly just attack. They say, this man is kafir, this man is evil, don't ever speak about this man, you're a. This is what you see, especially in religious debates, which is even more concerning and worrying. We need to always remind ourselves that when we are communicating with another person online, on social media, that we are communicating with another individual, another human being, and we have to maintain this akhlaq. Why? Because we need to act responsibly. We need to act as Islam commands us to, and we need to remember that these are human beings with feelings and emotions. And if we insult them for no reason, then we are committing acts of oppression towards them. Something I also want to mention, mainly tomorrow, which is Islam being used, social media being used to promote Islam and to propagate Islamic beliefs. This is of course a positive thing, and we're going to focus on it, and the importance of spreading Islam on social media. However, there's negatives when it comes to it as well. One of these things, and one of these negatives, is that when you see people talking about Islam on social media, a lot of the time you find that these people are questionable people. They spread deviant ideologies and messages about Islam which are not correct. For example, you will see them with the most fancy YouTube channel or the most fancy Facebook channel with HD cameras and all the latest designs and a beautiful background behind them. You have these scholars, for example, in London, who will sit in a big mansion, and what they will do is they will curse and insult people and promote disunity amongst Muslims, and they say, this is true Islam, follow me, what I'm saying is correct. And a lot of people will look at this and they will say, he has a beautiful setup and he addresses people and he wears his amama. And they get drawn into this belief. This man, for example, or these people may quote a hadith which is incorrect, which is found in questionable sources, in ahadith books which are not reliable. So we need to be aware of these people trying to deceive others and to deceive young people by using Islam. And instead we need to use our social media and our platforms to counter this and to spread what is the true Muhammadan Islam. Now, focusing more on the psychological effects of social media, what you'll find especially common as we go on and as social media use becomes more and more prevalent is depression as a result of overusage of social media. Today what you'll see is there are psychologists, there are scientists and there are experts in behavior who will conclusively tell you definitively that social media very often leads to a person being depressed. Some of them even ask the question, these psychologists and behavioral specialists, they say, what is the point of social media? Because the effects of it are much more negative than they are positive. Many would argue that one of the reasons for social media and one of the reasons why it became so popular is the fact that people want to present themselves positively before other people. They want other people to look at them and think, this person lives a great life, look at how amazing they are, I want to be like them. People then want admiration, they want recognition, they want attention from other people. They begin to seek and crave this attention so badly. And as they say, the currency or the money of social media is followers and likes and attention. People want more likes, they want more shares, they want more retweets, they want more views. These people will then solely try and post only positive aspects about their own lives. For example, you might see someone post on Facebook that they're on their way to ziyarah, or they checked into a very famous restaurant and it costs a lot of money and their steak comes wrapped in gold. When they have new clothes, they'll take a picture of it and show the price tag and the designer label, and they'll say, oh, alhamdulillah, I got this amazing piece of clothing, look at me. All of it relates to look at me and what I have. Other people come and see what I have. Many of these people want others to see that they have a nice lifestyle and to admire them and to look at them fondly and with respect. Now, of course, there's other people who they might just want to show off something nice which they have, and they have no bad intentions behind it, and this is fine. If you have something nice, say you bought a new car, it's okay to post it. If your intention is not to gain praise and recognition from other people, you might be happy or not. But what is the problem when you begin to start craving the attention of other people? The problem is that it leads further and further, as we are told today, and as the scientific studies show, to depression, to envy, to jealousy, and to feelings of even hatred amongst some people. To put it a bit more simply, say you are at work and you're just coming back from work and you had a really bad day. Your manager was really rude to you, and you had a customer who shouted at you, and you have family problems back at home. Now, you come home, you have to do the washing up, you have to do the laundry, you have to look after your children, you have to look after your parents, your brothers, your sisters. You have one moment of rest and you go onto Facebook. And what do you see? You see one of your friends, and he put on social media, what an amazing day I had. I just got a pay rise, and now I'm going to the airport and I'm going to Dubai, and I'm going to live an amazing 2 weeks in Dubai. Lots of money, cars, shisha, and then to top it off after that, I'm going to go for ziyarah, I'm going to go to visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And then after, I'm going to stop in London and go and see my friends and have a great time and spend some money in Harrods. You came from your work and you had a terrible day, and you log on and the first thing you see is this guy living an amazing life. We're not infallible humans. We are not ma'soom. What can happen to a lot of people is we might look at that person who posted all that stuff and they might say, why is this not happening to me? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not bless me and grant me this lifestyle? Why do I have to have the bad lifestyle and this person gets all the good stuff from it? This guy's cruising in life. Why am I not getting any of the benefits from it? What happens after this? And when these emotions begin to take hold of someone is that people begin to compare themselves and their struggle to other people. They think that their struggle which they have is so much greater than everybody else's, and Allah is challenging them more, and He's being unfair to them. This leads to a person becoming genuinely unhappy as an individual. And this is when feelings of depression and a negative mental state begin to creep into that person's life. If you think about it, have you ever seen someone post on Facebook, you know, today I had a really ordinary day. Nothing special happened, but nothing bad happened, alhamdulillah. No one ever posts this. The only time people go on social media to post something is when they are happy about it, or when they want to show something off to other people. Of course, if someone posted, oh, I had an ordinary day today, then they wouldn't say this. Why? They wouldn't get the attention that they wanted. The purpose of social media is to attract attention from others to yourselves. Therefore, social media in this sense is dangerous. It can spread a danger into the hearts and minds of especially young people. It can cause arguments between a husband and his wife. Why are we not going to Dubai? The wife might ask the husband. This guy and his wife are going to Dubai, they're living a great life, they're going on holidays. The husband or the wife starts complaining to the other one, why are we not doing this? The husband then goes to his wife, why are you not cooking this dish? Why are you cooking me this horrible dish, and this person every week, every night they create dolma for their husband? Why are you not doing this? How can we combat something like that? Is there a magical explanation whereby we can cure all of this, and where there is a magic remedy which solves the problem of the dangers of social media? Some people will listen to this explanation I'm about to give and they'll say this is not enough. We want a better cure, we want something really we can use just now. But the solution is actually very simple. And some people are not willing to accept it. The solution is follow the methodology of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Because the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt have come forward and they have given a remedy. They have said, keep your life and your affairs to yourself. In other words, there is an idea of a form of secrecy, which means that you don't tell everyone and anyone about your life and everything which happens in it. We need to understand, when we look at social media, there are repercussions to what we post, not just real life physical consequences and repercussions, but mental ones which affect a person's behavior and mindset as well. This is an important realization. You don't need to share all of your details and all of your achievements and accomplishments with the outside world. Who are you trying to impress? Why are you trying to attract that attention towards yourself? When you know there are people out there with evil and ill intentions who want to wish badly on you, then why are you exposing yourself to this for their attention? So how do you cut down on social media? And this applies to every single person. How do you cut down on the amount of social media you are using? Is it that simple? Sometimes people say, I'm going to cut down on social media. 5 minutes later, you see them sitting on their phone, eyes glued to it. There's a recent survey which was done by a couple of young Muslim people. And what they asked about was young people and youth social media usage. And from that survey that they conducted, they found that 6%, only 6% of the people who they interviewed said that social media is not harmful, there's no problem and no dangers or harms in it. 79% of the Muslim youth that they asked about social media said that it is harmful and dangerous to us. Muslims themselves know that social media is dangerous to them. And there are multiple different reasons why it is dangerous. But the most common reason which these people found to be the most dangerous reason for social media being harmful was the addiction that people have to it. We established already that using the internet and social media can create a lot of evils, a lot of dangers, and a lot of harm towards us. But how can we take practical steps to actually cut down on this usage and to get away from the negativity associated with it? The first step, you need to track down and count how many hours of every day you are spending on your phone. You can do this, everyone can do this on their phone. They go into settings, they check how much social media they use for today. It is very important to keep track of your time and the way in which you spend your time. And subhanAllah, 14 centuries ago, thousands of years ago, the Holy Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt gave us this golden key of keeping track of everything which you do. مَنْ لَمْ يُحَاسِبْ نَفْسَهُ فِي كُلِّ لَيْلَةٍ فَلَيْسَ مِنَّا. This hadith says that if you don't keep track of what you did during the day or at night, and if you do not judge yourself every day and every night, then you are not one of the followers from the Ahlul Bayt. Because naturally, without self-reflection on what you are doing and the way in which you spend your time, if you do not keep track of this, then naturally you will deviate from their path. Every night it is important to ask yourself, what did I do today? Was I productive today? Did I serve and submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as best I could today? If you come across some good things which you did, then you be thankful to Allah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, be thankful to Allah. Say, Ya Allah, you enabled me to do this good. You gave me the power and the energy and the strength. Thank you, Allah, for allowing me to do these good activities. And if, God forbid, you find yourself doing bad deeds or sins perhaps on that day, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, ask Allah for forgiveness. If you ask Allah for forgiveness on that night where you reflected and you sincerely mean it in your heart, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives you. There's a narration, a hadith, which says, you reckon yourself and you judge yourself before you are judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of resurrection. The day of judgment, the day of resurrection, is a day of surprises for a lot of people. It is a day of surprises. It is a night of surprises. Why? Because often in our day-to-day lives, we don't keep track of what we are doing. We don't keep track of if we have sinned and how we can repent for that sin. The second step to getting off social media, turn off your notifications for it. The only one you need to really keep on is for the Adhan app, or maybe your text messages and WhatsApp. Even WhatsApp, you don't need to keep on. Why? Once you see that notification, you are instantly going to be drawn to it, to click it. It comes down in a bright banner, people look at it and say, okay, I'm going to go and see what's happening now. You even see people, when Salah is finished, the first thing they do, they don't do Tasbih al-Zahra, they turn their phone over, click what's going on social media. Even when they are doing ibadah, when they are worshipping, when they are doing Salah, their mind wanders to social media because they see it pop up on their phone. Turn it off, you don't need to see it. How often is it the case that something really urgent or important is happening that you need to go onto it? How many times have you received a text message and it says, come quickly, someone is dying? Or come quickly, we need your help. No, if this is the case, they'll call you. If you see a banner for Instagram, I guarantee you no one is dying and they need your help. And the only way to save them is to go onto Instagram and check. These are distractions to us, especially when we are in a time where we should be focusing on our duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, your Instagram picture and your fancy t-shirt, you got liked by Hamoudi. He said, yeah, I like this picture. So what? Why do you feel the urge to have to run to it and check it all the time, 24/7? In the morning you wake up, the first thing you do, you don't send your salam to Imam Mahdi, you go on Instagram. That's a big problem. Ayatollah Bahjat, he says every day should start with saying salam to Imam Mahdi. Not by going on to Instagram and checking who liked my picture of my dolma or my fasoliyah which I cooked last night. There's much more important things to be focusing on. Very quickly, what I want to also touch on is something which needs to be emphasized more than the other points I mentioned. When it comes to limiting the use of smartphones or iPhones or social media, and to kind of break that addiction that you have, we need to have certain times of the day where we don't use our phones at all, and we make it a law or a rule that we do not use our phones at this point during the day. For example, when you are having dinner or lunch with your family, when you are having food with your parents, and when you are spending time with them. These times, even if it's for 30 minutes, focus on having a quality time with your family. Your family will not be around forever. God forbid the day comes where they die and you spend all of the time when they were alive on your phone not listening to them. Have a policy in your house where at dinner time no one goes near their phones. You put it in a different room. You sit there and you speak and have a discussion with your family and you spend that quality time with them. And if you institute this rule in your life, then you will come to a sense of awareness that you find true happiness when you put social media to the side. You have no idea or the extent to which social media can cause spiritual death of a person. You have no idea of the disrespect that you can commit towards your family members when you have this addiction to social media. The root of this is that we as human beings have an old problem. It is difficult for us to sit and to clear our minds and to reflect and to contemplate. The media, big corporations, big companies, they don't want people to sit and to think and to reflect. They want people, especially young people, to always be busy and distracted on their phones, doing something, checking what's happening here, what's happening here. There's a famous quote from a philosopher which says that the misery of a man is that he cannot sit alone in his room and think and have time with himself. Subhanallah, look at the Holy Quran. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in it? Allah describes the believers as being very active, very proactive, very productive, but they give that time between them and their Lord. That time of reflection should be important every single day, to think about your duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they are those who remember Allah whilst standing, whilst sitting, whilst lying, and whilst they are on their sides, and they reflect on the creation of the heavens and the earth, and they say, our Lord, Ya Rab, you have not created all of this without purpose. Glory be to you, protect us from the torment of the fire. And this is the root cause of the danger behind social media. The way it can take us away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, to conclude, this is why the religion of Islam says, 1 hour of contemplation in your day has more value than 70 rak'ahs of worship. Once you develop this habit of thinking and of contemplating and about reflecting about your life, where you stand, where you are going, what have you done, what is your purpose? Once you have these questions in your mind, you are a strong human being who has the ability and the strength of having willpower. You will not be someone who is controlled by their desires or their mind or the media, for example. And that is why a believer is someone who is independent in his thinking, in his thought. These distractions of social media do not let that person achieve a distraction in their everyday life. Institute a time of day where you are away from all these distractions of social media and of the internet and focus on something productive. Even if it is not direct worship, that 1 hour of contemplation where you think about your purpose, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, will benefit you more than 300 hours on social media. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.